The USA Radio Network presents the greatest radio programs of all time.
Suspense. Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet.
This is classic radio theater.
Gangbusters.
I was a communist for the FBI.
Lights out, everybody.
Now here's your host, Wyatt Cox.
Crime drama The Whisperer, as it was originally broadcast July 15th, 1951, attempted murder.
Presenting The Whisperer, starring Carleton Young. The Whisperer, a brilliant man who, losing his voice in an accident which crushed his vocal cords, worked his way deep within the crime syndicate to help destroy it from within. To the underworld, his familiar rattling hiss is the voice of authority, to be obeyed without question. Then a miracle of surgery performed by Dr. Benjamin Lee restored his natural voice, enabling him to resume his real identity. Now, as Philip Galt, brilliant young attorney, he skirts the thin edges of death, living his dual role. For as the Whisperer, he sets in motion the forces of the syndicate in Central City. Then, as Philip Galt, uses his knowledge to fight the organized network of crime which seeks to control the fate of millions in cities and towns across the nation. The only person besides Dr. Lee who knows the true identity of the Whisperer is the doctor's nurse, Ellen Norris. Now in the oak-paneled office of Philip Galt, counselor at law, she watches him at the telephone, speaking in the voice of the Whisperer as he talks with his superiors of the syndicate in New York.
Hello, New York. Instructions passed on to Mason. Will report progress.
Is that all?
All of what, Ellen?
That voice for tonight. You know what it sounds like?
Poor guy with an affliction who walked into your office and asked for help.
And got help. And it's not exactly my office. Dr. Lee likes to think it's his. I just work there. But he didn't restore your voice so you could go on talking in that horrible whisper.
Oh, Ellen, we're not going into that again.
We are, if you've got more of this syndicate business to take care of tonight.
Sweetheart, tonight...
Yes?
I've got a chore for you.
Oh, goody.
No, I'm serious.
Far away.
It requires a delicate touch.
Mine's like a bird.
A buzzard?
Phil Galt.
Okay, listen. There's a newspaper reporter, Farrell, Tommy Farrell, a sharp boy, and he's been taking a dim view of the syndicate's activities in this town and broadcasting his opinion in his newspaper.
Good for him.
Yes, except that now he's in real trouble.
The syndicate's after him, and you've got to save him. Now that you've put the finger on him.
We've got to save him.
Where do I fit in?
Well, I know that Mason is supposed to shoot Farrell at the Club 17. That would mean that Farrell's going to be there.
Club 17, the gambling club.
Uh-huh. Unfortunately, being only one thread of the syndicate, I don't know what the other threads are or how they're working. For instance, I don't know what time the shooting's going to take place, how the syndicate knows Farrell's going to be there, or what this Mason, whom I spoke to, looks like.
Well, a lot of things you don't know.
That's where you come in, Ellen. Across the street from the Bulletin is a cafe called Bluebell. The newspaper boys congregate there for their beer and Skittles.
What are Skittles?
I haven't the slightest idea. Anyway, the delicate touch I've been talking about is whether you can take care of Tommy Farrell.
Oh, brother.
Make like a siren. Try to keep him from going to the Club 17 tonight.
It might be interesting. Young?
I don't know.
Does he have a sense of humor?
Definitely. Some very clever cracks about the syndicate in his newspaper articles.
Well, what are you going to do in the meantime?
Snoop around, try to find out who Mason is, and get in his hair in case you don't succeed in charming Farrell away.
Oh, sounds like a challenge, and I accept. No holds barred.
Now, wait a minute. You... Hello?
Galt?
Why, yes, Lieutenant Denver.
There's a guy down here I'd like you to see. A fellow by the name of Euban.
Don't know any Euban, Lieutenant. Especially any Euban in trouble with homicide.
It's not homicide, it's vice. Euban owns and operates a Club 17.
Club 7... Oh, that's very interesting, Lieutenant.
I just happen to be around, and Euban doesn't have an attorney. Of course, if you're not interested.
Business, Lieutenant? Of course I'm interested. What's the charge against Euban?
Running and operating a gambling casino. What else?
I'll be right down. Well, what does that mean?
What does what mean?
Well, why did the police pick this particular time to book the owner of the Club 17? That's where the shooting's supposed to take place. Something's cooking, Ellen.
Well, before it gets to a boil, I'm off to intercept reporter Tommy Farrell. He sounds very romantic.
Now, just stick to the necessities, Ellen. Don't take this job too much to heart. Mr. Euban?
Yes. Who are you?
Your attorney.
I don't have an attorney, and I don't want one.
A man in your position without legal representation?
I fired him. I got tired of taking these drafts from the police.
I've already set the machinery in motion to get you out.
Says who? What right
You don't want out?
You catch on quickly. Now you can stop that machinery you were talking about.
I think I catch on to something else, too.
Huh?
You arranged to have yourself picked up.
What?
You want to be in jail tonight, so you won't possibly be connected with something that's going to happen in your club tonight.
You're a smart lad.
Not so smart. Even the cops could figure that out. Here you are in jail, and you don't want to get out. What other reason could there be? Couldn't be an alibi, could it?
You're a pretty clever sighter, Gog. But I play this my way. I'm staying put.
Okay, Euban. But you might find out that your way will be mighty painful.
See a minute?
As soon as I make a quick phone call, Lieutenant.
I suppose, as usual, you want privacy. Use that phone booth over there.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Operator, New York City, circle 1879.
Circle 1879.
Central City.
Go ahead, Central City.
Euban had himself put in jail so that he won't be at his club for tonight's little party.
He did?
An obvious attempt at an alibi. It will tip police off. He knew what was coming. Bad reverberations for the syndicate.
Right. We'll take care of it. He'll be at the club as usual tonight.
Good. I'll check with you after mission is accomplished.
Well, Mr. Galt, you spend a lot of time in phone booths.
I'm developing telephonia, Lieutenant. Now, tell me why you called me for this little job.
Oh, I like the way you operate, Galt.
Uh-huh. And I like you, too, Lieutenant. How come you've forsaken homicide for the Vice Squad?
Extracurricular work. Boys in the detail are a little rushed.
Yeah. Why'd you want Euban released?
Oh, did I want him released?
A raid tonight? You want to catch him there, is that it?
A raid? Now, how could you think a thing like that?
Okay, Lieutenant. All I want to know is why you picked Club 17 tonight. Who made the complaint?
Well, you got the best of me, Galt.
And why are you so interested in Vice and gangster detail stuff?
You tell me why.
Because you smell homicide, Lieutenant. And you smell homicide whenever the syndicate is involved.
Oh?
Is Euban part of the syndicate?
I wish I knew.
But you suspect he is. And that's why you called me? Because lately you've been spotting me at some of the syndicate's finaglings?
Probably just a coincidence, Galt.
Uh-huh. Well, maybe I'll see you later on tonight. At Club 17.
Oh, why don't you stay a while and chat?
I'd love to, Lieutenant, but right now I'm on my way to see a lady about a reporter.
In the meantime, Ellen Norris enters the smoke-filled Bluebell Cafe to fulfill the mission assigned her by Philip Galt, alias the Whisperer. A mission designed to keep Thomas Farrell from going to the Club 17, where a killer waits for him.
What'll it be, lady?
Tap beer, please. A tall one. Oh, and some Skittles, please.
Huh? Skittles?
Please. I've always wanted to find out what they were.
I don't know. Hey, mister, you know what's a Skittle?
Skittles?
Yeah.
That's an interesting question. I've used the phrase myself, beer and Skittles. Maybe it's some kind of beef jerky.
Tall beer. Very tall.
Well, thank you. Keep the change.
But, well, what do you know?
Shouldn't have done that.
What? You shouldn't have done what?
Give him that dime. It'll spoil him. You leave it on the counter and keep looking at it soulfully while he serves the rest of us poor newspapermen.
Oh, newspaperman? Oh, you know T. Farrell?
Well, I grew up with him.
Really? Well, I've been reading his articles in the Bulletin. I think he's wonderful.
So do I. Well, let's not get maudlin about this. I'm T. Farrell.
Oh.
Let's sit down and get away from this hoi polloi, huh?
Hoi polloi?
Yeah, the kind of people you shouldn't associate with. In this case, other reporters or the men. Oh, here, this is fine. Hey, tell me, what are you doing in this bar?
Having a beer. You're not old.
Oh, not yet.
And you're rather distinguished looking. Those gray hairs around your temple. They're very attractive.
Those are typewriter hairs. I get them with my fingers poised over a typewriter trying to dream up the perfect word. Yeah, sometimes I sit like that for hours. They have to shake me to get me awake.
But now you're all through for the day, eh?
Yeah, until later.
Oh?
Duty.
Oh.
If the law wasn't going to be mixed up in it, I'd ask you to come along.
Oh, I wasn't thinking anything like that. I thought maybe you'd like to come on a party. I'm going to.
You see, that's what happens to me every time. Duty, duty. Where is this party? I'll make it later.
Oh, no, it's all right. Some other time.
No, wait. I got an idea. One of the boys will take you, and I'll join in later. I got to be somewhere about 11, but it shouldn't take more than 3/4 of an hour.
No, some other time. It's all right.
Oh, you're disappointed.
No.
Look, sweetheart, I haven't had a stroke of luck like this since a little Belgian gal I met in the Battle of the Bulge.
Well, if any old appointment makes that much difference, it's quite all right, Mr. Farrell.
Well, how about having another beer and waiting for me right here, huh?
Anybody here know what Skittles are?
Uh-oh. What is this, sweetie?
I don't know.
Quite a line to come in on. Skittles.
Oh, hello there. I'm connected with the Encyclopedia Britannica, and we're tracing the derivation.
What's your angle, Sonny? You know this young lady?
I just want to know what Skittles are.
Looks like too much of a coincidence. Don't crowd, Sonny. I don't like the question. I don't like the setup here, and I don't like you.
Hey, out of my way, Sonny. Wait a minute.
Phil, he's getting away. He's going to Club 17.
Yes, Ellen, and now that he's suspicious, we won't be able to stop him.
So?
So we go out to Club 17, and unless we do better there than we did here, Farrell is going to get murdered.
You are listening to The Whisperer, the story of Philip Galt, the man who walks the thin edge of death, living a double identity.
July 15th, 1951 on Classic Radio Theater.
Nothing is more important than protecting your family and property. That's why you should make a free call right now to Vivint, the #1 smart home services provider in the U.S. Vivint will make your home safer and more secure with a state-of-the-art system that's so simple to use. Vivint smart home specialists provide award-winning monitoring of your system 24/7, 365 to respond to any emergency, even when you can't. And with the 4.5-star rated Vivint smart home mobile app, control your entire house from anywhere. Locks, cameras, security system, all at your fingertips on your mobile device. Call Vivint now and get a free quote, professional installation, and full smart home service for as little as $2 per day. Equipment purchase or service agreement required. Conditions apply. Call now. A smart home is a safer home, so protect your family and your property, home or business, with a Vivint smart home system.
Call 800-619-7902. That's 800-619-7902. Call now, 800-619-7902.
I used to wonder when I saw people going into nice hotels, really nice hotels, taking a pillow with them. That was before I got a MyPillow, because I know it doesn't matter where I'm going, whether I'm going to a 1-star, 3-star, 5-star hotel, MyPillow goes with me, whether it's just overnight or whether it's on vacation. And here's the great deal about MyPillow right now. The lowest price ever offered on radio or TV. 2 MyPillow premium pillows for $69.98. That's only $34.99 per pillow. The lowest price ever offered on radio or TV. And it's still the same pillow. Great pillow, 60-day money-back guarantee, 10-year warranty. And call them, 1-800-951-8175, or go to MyPillow.com, use promo code USA, click on the 2-pack special, and get the best deal you've ever gotten on a good night's sleep when you get a MyPillow.
Are you drowning in debt? Are you struggling to make minimum payments? Did you know that on average, a household with at least one credit card struggles with over $15,000 in credit card debt? If this sounds like you, know that it's not your fault. Credit card debt happens to good people. Credit card companies lure you in with low introductory rates and low minimum payments. Before you know it, you're in over your head. National Debt Relief has helped thousands of good people just like you become debt-free with our Debt Reset program that will dramatically reduce your debt down to a fraction of what you owe. Our Debt Reset program is customized to get you debt-free in as little as 24 to 48 months with one low monthly payment. If you owe over $10,000 in credit card debt or even personal loans, call 800-274-9490. There are no upfront fees or out-of-pocket expenses. You don't pay a dime until we succeed. Call now to see how the Debt Reset program can work for you. 800-274-9490. That's 800-274-9490. 800-274-9490.
Classic Radio Theater on your favorite station, July 15th, 1951, The Whisperer.
It's the Silver Jubilee on NBC. 25 years ago this year, the National Broadcasting Company was founded. It was during this same period that an era of jazz, mahjong, and the Lucky Lindy flourished. You'll step into the world of the Roaring Twenties every Wednesday evening if you'll tune for Pete Kelly's Blues on this station. Pete Kelly's Blues. It's about the big music and the big trouble and the big roar of the 20s. Pete Kelly's Blues, Wednesday. Philip Galt, known to the underworld as the Whisperer, has set in motion the syndicate's plan to kill Thomas Farrell, newspaper reporter who's been uncovering some of the syndicate's activities. Then, in his real identity as Philip Galt's counselor at law, he sent Ellen Norris to keep Farrell from going to the Club 17. But Farrell became suspicious and headed for the club, where a killer waits for him. Phil and Ellen follow in Phil's car, hoping they will reach the gambling club in time to prevent his death.
I'll have to get this motor checked. I can't seem to get any speed out of it at all.
You're doing 70 now.
Farrell has quite a head start on us. We could get there too late.
What happened downtown with Lieutenant Denver?
Euban, the owner of Club 17, had himself rousted this evening.
Had himself? You mean deliberately?
That's what I mean. Evidently, he knows about the setup for Tommy Farrell, and he wanted to make sure he wasn't around when it happened. A perfect alibi for him would have been if he was in jail.
Oh.
I pointed out to him how illogical that was. He was in jail of his own choosing, and it showed complicity with what was going to happen.
So you got him out?
He still wouldn't leave, Ellen. I had to do it through the syndicate.
Now what?
I wish I knew. We get to the Club 17 as fast as we can.
This fellow Mason will be there waiting to kill Farrell.
Yes?
And you don't know Mason?
Only his voice.
Oh, the way this syndicate works. One finger doesn't know what the other finger is doing, let alone a hand.
It's tough.
And it's tougher on you and on me. Oh, you'll get caught, Phil. You can take chances only so many times, and then the law of averages runs out.
Ellen.
All right, I'm not going into that again. We're going up to the Club 17 to stop a murder. We don't know who the murderer is or how he'll try to do his murdering. Should be simple.
There are a couple of things I don't understand about this.
If somebody wants to kill somebody else, the chances are 10,000 in 10,001 he's going to do it. You can't stop him.
We can try. I'll be quiet a moment and listen.
Okay.
Ellen, why'd Lieutenant Denver want me to get Euban out of jail?
Maybe he likes to keep his jails clean.
And what takes Farrell up to Club 17 this evening?
Could be he's after stories. He is a reporter, you know.
Sure. But what story?
I don't know.
Maybe it's connected with Lieutenant Denver. Maybe. I got it.
Well?
Have you any objections to getting caught in a raid?
It depends on what kind of raid.
On a gambling club, cops swarming all over the place, pistols out, a lot of excitement. Maybe a gun goes
And
off.
Tommy Farrell gets the bullets. Think Denver knows the syndicate is mixed up in this?
I'm sure of it. That's why he's getting involved in it, even though it isn't homicide business.
And about Tommy Farrell being there. He must have been tipped off there'd be a raid.
Uh-huh, by some member of the syndicate. To get him there and have him killed in the commotion. The poor guy doesn't have any idea what he's walking into.
The Whisperer has his function. Euban has another function. The police are Patsy's playing a part.
And Mason, the killer, only knows one thing. That Tommy Farrow's to be killed. Neat. Tied up in bows. Mason takes his shot, gets out of the excitement, leaves town, and who could ever pin Farrow's murder on any part of the syndicate?
Oh, why do we mess with it? Why do we...
To save a nice guy's life, Ellen. That a good enough reason?
Yes, that's a good enough reason.
Place your bets, ladies and gentlemen. Place your bets. Place your bets, ladies.
I don't see Farrell anywhere, Phil.
Place your bets.
Business is certainly booming for Mr. Euban.
Uh-huh. Oh, here he comes.
Hello, Counselor.
Hello, Euban. Oh, Ellen, this is Mr. Euban, Miss Norris.
The way the counselor talked, I thought he was all business. It's a pleasure.
Your place here is very plush.
Oh, just a little thing.
Will you excuse me? I think I see a friend of mine.
Of course.
Give him my regards, Ellen.
I will.
Maybe that was good advice that you were trying to give me.
Glad to see you took it.
Maybe I can give you some in return. That's a reporter your girl's going to see.
Farrell?
Uh-huh. Take her away from him, Galt.
I think he's trying to take her away from me.
I ain't kidding. You're a smart shyster. If you like the girl, keep her away.
Any special reason?
I hear things.
About Farrell?
Yes, about Farrell. The kind of things he's writing in his paper. Certain people don't like him, and it ain't healthy to be near him.
Certain people? The syndicate?
I didn't say nothing about no syndicate.
That's what he's writing about.
Yes. Well, I ain't well read. All the reading I do is the names of horses and what the round robin figures out.
Thanks for the tip about Farrell. I'll see what I can do about it.
Well, sister, I'm not as young as I'd like to be anymore. I can spot a plant it. Oh. You again.
Relax.
I'm relaxed. Hey, what's your line?
Maybe I've got a tip for you, Farrell.
I don't know where you fit in, and I just as soon never find out. Take your charming Skittles along with you.
Investigating the syndicate, aren't you?
So?
Euban's part of it.
Is he?
This is his place. Euban knows there's going to be a raid here tonight.
How do you know?
All I had to know was that he had himself rousted. He didn't want to be here when the raid was on.
Smart guy, Euban.
Not so smart. He isn't worried about the raid. He's worried about what's going to happen during the raid.
Yeah, and just what's going to happen during the raid.
Who tipped you about it, Farrell?
What are you getting at?
A setup.
What setup?
Use your head, Farrell. This is all for you. Everything. The raid, Euban not wanting to be here, you're being tipped so you will be here.
You trying to tell me?
You're their target for tonight, Farrell. That's why I tried to keep you from coming here.
How do you know so much about it?
I'm a lawyer. I ran across it.
Hey,
here it comes. Now, careful.
July 15th, 1951, The Whisperer, not to be confused with The Whistler, here on Classic Radio Theater. We'll also hear tell in our next half hour about the fine sports writer Grantland Rice. That's all coming up as Classic Radio Theater continues in 4 minutes. You know, for a while I worked in a hotel, and I really used to go, why do people bring their own pillows with them? Well, once I got a My Pillow, I understood. Because doesn't matter how good the hotel is, doesn't matter whether it's a 2-star, 3-star, 5-star hotel, it doesn't matter how nice the hotel is if you don't get a good night's sleep. And the key to getting a good night's sleep is a My Pillow. Now, the best deal ever offered on My Pillow right now. You go to mypillow.com, enter our promo code USA, click the 2-pack special, and folks, you're going to get 2 My Pillow premium pillows for $69.98. That's $34.99 per pillow, the lowest price ever offered on radio or TV. Now, it's the same MyPillow we've been talking about for months. It stays cool all night long. You don't wake up and flip the pillow over in the middle of the night. It keeps its shape. You don't have to fluff it up in the middle of the night. 60-day money-back guarantee, 10-year warranty, and that's the deal. Try it for 60 days. You don't like it, send it back. 10-year warranty. Tell me another pillow you've got that's got a 10-year warranty. No. And the great thing is it's always as clean and fresh as new. If you get in a mess or after, a couple of weeks, throw it in the washing machine, toss it in the dryer, fluff it up, and you got a brand new MyPillow. The lowest price ever offered on MyPillow, 2 MyPillow premium pillows, $69.98, $34.99 a pillow. You see if you can find a price like that anywhere else. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the 2-pack special, enter my promo code USA, or call 1-800-951-8175. The best deal ever. And by the way, that promo code USA works on anything on the MyPillow website, MyPillow.com. And you're listening to Classic Radio Theater on your favorite station. Now the conclusion of The Whisperer from July 15th, 1951, The Syndicate.
All right, everybody! This is a pin! Let's take it nice and easy and keep it orderly. Hey!
What happened to the lights, Phil?
Duck, get down, Farrell. You all right, Ellen?
Yes. Tommy?
Okay. Both of you, stay where you are and stay on the floor.
Where are you going?
I'm going to Euban's office. The man who shot that gun ducked in there.
Mason.
The Whisperer. What are you doing here?
You missed Farrell.
Yeah, I know. I won't the second time.
See that you don't. Stay here. I'll send him in.
Okay.
We'll get the lights on in a minute, folks. Everybody just stay where you are. There won't be any more shooting. Take it easy.
Oh!
Ellen?
Yes?
I thought I told you to...
I wanted to find out what's going on.
Mason, the guy who shot at Farrow is in the office. I'm going to get Lieutenant Denver to smoke him out with tear gas.
Hello?
Yes, Euban?
Doc.
Over here.
Out of my way, Counselor. I got things to protect in my office.
There's somebody in there. Don't go in.
Out of my way, I said.
Wait, I told Euban not to go in there.
But the other shot, it sounded like a different gun, Phil.
Okay, Harrison, get these lights on. I said everybody stay wet. Oh, that's better.
Thank goodness. The lights are on.
Whoever took that stack of chips in front of the blackjack dealer better put them back now.
Galt, what were those shots? Come and see for yourself, Lieutenant.
Huh? Oh, Euban. He's still alive.
Harrison, get an ambulance.
Take a look over there, Lieutenant.
Huh? Who's he?
I don't know. I never saw him before in my life. But he's the guy who started the shooting, and I wanted him to stay in there so you could pick him up. Then Euban came barging in.
Yeah.
Where did Harrison put in that call?
Hey, Galt. Looks like I owe you and the lady an apology.
Oh, Farrell.
Yeah. Sorry about my suspicion. Looks like I was wrong about you.
Forget it.
Anytime I can be of any help.
I may take you up on that.
Maybe both of us will take you up on it, Tommy. Every time we get through one of these, it's as though I've just had a terrible weight lifted off my shoulders.
That's nice and neat when they kill each other off.
Both of them dead?
Uh-huh. Euban died before they could get him into the ambulance. 2 less in the syndicate.
What are we stopping at your place for?
Just to have the Whisperer make a report. And then?
Then?
There are several questions I want to ask you.
Oh, personal.
Extremely. For instance, just how well did you get to know Tommy Farrell?
Why, Phil, you're...
Jealous? Uh-huh. I noticed one startling thing. When that shot rang out in the dark.
What?
You called him Tommy. Not Mr. Farrell, not even just Farrell, but Tommy.
Did I?
Yes.
Well, I'll confess. He finally broke down and made something very clear to me. And I couldn't help but be overwhelmed by it.
What?
He told me what Skittles are.
Oh. Well, what are they?
Ninepins, darling. Beer and Skittles means beer and a game of ninepins. But nowadays we've just shortened the meaning to enjoyment. Have some beer and Skittles with me?
It'll be my pleasure, just as soon as I call the syndicate.
Circle 1879.
Hello, New York. Central City reporting. Pharaoh mission bungled by Mason.
Central City, forget Pharaoh. He's too hot now. For important instructions, check Los Angeles at midnight.
Los Angeles at midnight.
The Whisperer is based upon stories and characters created by Stetson Humphrey. Any similarity to persons living or dead is purely coincidental. Carleton Young is starred as the Whisperer. Betty Moran is Ellen. Others in the cast were Paul Frees, Julius Kraulbein, Jack Moyles, Frank Gerstle, and Jan Arvan. Script was by Jonathan Twice. Original music by Johnny Duffy, and the entire production was directed by Bill Karn. Next week, listen to another exciting adventure with
July 15th, 1951, The Whisperer on Classic Radio Theater.
Welcome to Tax Talk with Hollywood legend Bob Eubanks.
You know, as part of Hollywood for a long time, I've seen my fair share of celebrities get in trouble with the IRS. Well, there's one name I trust, the Tax Defense Group. They're the most trusted name in tax. So if you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS, you really need to call my friends at the Tax Defense Group. Ignoring the IRS is not the solution. They can garnish your paycheck, levy your bank accounts, seize your home or business. But the Tax Defense Group could put a stop to all of that and tailor a program that would reduce your tax debt to pennies on the dollar. You gotta love that. So don't just take my word for it. Call them. Find out for yourself. They offer a 100% satisfaction guarantee, and they're open 24 hours a day because they know that tax debt doesn't sleep either.
Call now for your free and confidential tax analysis from the most trusted name in tax. Call 800-832-1594. 800-832-1594.
If you enjoy our Classic Radio Theater broadcasts and want to start building a collection of your own, go to classicradio.stream. That's classicradio.stream. There you'll find links to great classic radio collections on CD, along with links to great reading on classic radio, plus Classic Radio Theater on demand. Check out our webpage, available now at classicradio.stream. That's classicradio.stream. And enjoy.
Hi, this is Kyle Horvath with the White Pine County Tourism and Recreation Board. If you want to get away from the big cities and get back to nature this summer, give us a call at 775-289-3720 or visit us online at elinevada.net. There's so much to do and see I can't mention it in 30 seconds, but check out our website and you'll see what Nevada is really all about. elinevada.net or follow us on Facebook or Instagram. Give us a call at 775-289-3720 or visit us online at elinevada.net.
Tired of overpaying for the little blue pill? What if you could get the exact same results for just a fraction of the price, guaranteed? Well, now you can with sildenafil, the active ingredient in the blue pill. With 20 milligram generic sildenafil tablets, you get the exact same results for less than $2 per pill. And again, the results are guaranteed. That's right, absolutely guaranteed results for a fraction of the cost of the little blue pill. So give your wallet a break and call us toll-free at 800-365-6017 to get your generic sildenafil delivered discreetly to your door. And of course, while saving hundreds of dollars, you'll also be saving time by saying goodbye to those long, embarrassing pharmacy lines once and for all. Again, just call 800-365-6017 and get your generic sildenafil with a 100% money-back guarantee. Getting your pills doesn't get any easier or cheaper than this, so call 800-365-6017 now.
Now on Classic Radio Theater, Jimmy Powers and more of that transcribed series, from July 15th, 1955, the Grantland Rice Story, where Jimmy talks about how Grantland talked about Babe Ruth.
This is Jimmy Powers coming your way with another Grantland Rice Story. Hi there, this is Jimmy Powers bringing you the colorful life of the late and great Granny Rice, based on his best-selling autobiography, The Tumult and the Shouting, published by A.S. Barnes & Company. Previously, we journeyed with Granny through the early days of his life, his birth in Tennessee in 1880, his boyhood in Nashville, his college days at Vanderbilt, and his subsequent breaking in as a sports writer for various papers in Tennessee and Georgia, to Cleveland, home again to Nashville, and finally to New York for his first big shot at fame with the Evening Mail in 1910. After Teddy Roosevelt and after the First World War, before the Depression and the WPA, there was an era that's come to be known as the Roaring Twenties, and also the Golden Age of Sports. In those days, a few lucky ones donned earphones, huddled over their crystal sets, cursed the static, and screamed as Tunney took the long count. But most avid sports fans had the long wait until the next morning's newspapers hit the street to find out who won and just what had happened. Even though 135,000 people contributed to the first $2 million gate at the Dempsey-Tunney fight, another 25 million sport fans had to know what happened, blow by blow, and the newspaper writers told them. And even though 74,000 could jam into the house that Ruth built to see Ruth mince his way around the bases, another 25 million could hardly wait for the late edition to learn if Babe had slammed another one. Today brings Granny face to face with a young and truly great southpaw pitcher for the world champion Boston Red Sox, George Herman Babe Ruth. So, once again, with a sincere bow to the spirit of Grantland Rice, I turn the page and in first person continue for your enjoyment The Tumult and the Shouting. The first time I saw Babe Ruth was in the spring of 1919 at Tampa, Florida. I'd been with our troops in France the previous year, so Ruth was news to me. Babe blasted a batting practice pitch clear out of the park into a plowed field. I gauged that hit as about 500 feet. While Ruth hit, I watched, and Ed Barrow, the Red Sox manager, talked. Ruth was our main holdout, said Barrow. He's been signed to a 3-year contract. At 24, this fellow can become the greatest single thing that's happened to baseball. Babe, I said, I was watching your swing. You swing like no pitcher I ever saw. With my swing, it's all or nothing at all, replied Babe. I copied it after Joe Jackson's. His is the perfectest. Of all the sluggers spawned by the advent of the lively ball, Babe remains the only one I ever knew who never shortened or choked his grip when the count reached 2 strikes. He gripped his bat at the very end with the knob of the handle palmed in his right hand. Babe liked plenty of lumber in his war clubs. Many of his bats weighed 42 ounces. That's about a half-pound more than the average. That spring, the Red Sox and McGraw's Giants played an exhibition series. I hung around for several games to watch Ruth, being converted from a pitcher to an outfielder, slug and play left field. In the first game, he hit the loftiest shot I ever saw, some 6 miles over the right field fence. Bill McGeehan, then sports editor of the New York Tribune, who didn't impress easily, wrote, "The ball sailed so high that when it came down it was coated with ice." Shortly after, I turned out a bit of verse entitled, "Son of Swat, Babe Ruth." When you can lean upon the ball and lay the seasoned ash against it, the ballpark is a trifle small, no matter how far out they've fenced it. In January 1920, Colonel Jake Rupert paid Red Sox owner Harry Frazee $125,000 outright for Babe, plus a $350,000 loan. That transaction remains baseball's all-time bargain. Matter of fact, not only did Rupert buy a team named Ruth, it remained for this big, overgrown youngster from the Baltimore slums to lift baseball on his back and return it to the aura of respectability. You see, the Black Sox scandal occurred during the 1919 World Series. I'll touch on that later. But let it be said that if a slugger of Babe's magnitude hadn't come along to capture the imagination of the crowd by socking the ball clean out of the lot where it couldn't be tampered with, baseball might well have gone down the drain of mediocrity. Some years later, I was with Colonel Rupert at St. Petersburg, Florida, after he had signed Babe to a 2-year contract for $80,000 a year. And Rupert commented, "Who are we kidding? I could pay Root $200,000 a year, and he wouldn't be overpaid." Somehow things didn't just happen. They exploded when the Babe was my sidekick. I once had him on a national radio hookup with Graham McNamee in charge. At the last minute, the Babe's carefully rehearsed script became scrambled. Before I could throw a halter on him, he was off and running. McNamee was frantic, the orchestra leader was frantic, the producer with his stopwatch mind was frantic as Babe rambled on and on. At one point, the Babe was supposed to refer to the Duke of Wellington's historic remark that the Battle of Waterloo had been won on the playing fields of Eton. The Babe came out with this gem. As Duke Ellington once said, the Battle of Waterloo was won on the playing fields of Elkton. Later I asked Babe how he could louse up one short statement so completely. "Well, Grant," he said, "about that Wellington guy I wouldn't know. Ellington, yes. As for that Eton business, well, I married my first wife in Elkton, Maryland, and I always hated the place. It must have stuck." But perhaps for Ruth, his most embarrassing and at the same time his most hilarious moment occurred on the evening we dined on the outskirts at St. Petersburg during spring training. It was quite a dinner. Among the guests I had invited were the Walter Lippmans. The dinner was a huge success until the dignified Mrs. Lippman asked Ruth to describe the famous home run he called in the 32 series against the Cubs. "It's like this," boomed Babe, bigger than a freshly laundered barn, in white gabardine and puffing on a huge cigar. "I'm riding the stuffing out of the Cubs, telling them they're the cheapest pack of crumb bums for what they did to our guy, little Mark Koenig, an ex-Yankee who shortstopped them down the home stretch, and then was cut in for a measly half share of the series swag. Well, I pack one into the stands in the first inning, but in the fifth it's tied 4-4 when I'm up with nobody on base. The Chicago fans are giving me the works. Charlie Root, the Cubs pitcher, breezes those first 2 pitches by, both strikes. The mob's tearing down Wrigley Field. I shake my fist after that first strike. I know it was good. And after the second, it was in there too. I wave my bat at those bellowing bleachers right where I aim to park the ball. Ruth throws it, and I hit that blankety-blank ball on the nose right over the fence. How do you like those apples, you so-and-sos? I yell at Ruth as I start around the bases. By the time I reach home, I'm almost falling down. I'm laughing so hard. And that's how it happened. The Babe's erudite explanation finished, a battered Mrs. Lippman mumbled that they'd have to be leaving. "Why did you use that language?" I asked Babe. "What the heck, Grant," he snorted. "You heard her ask me what happened, so I told her." And that's how the most famed of home runs happened. Ruth may not have been at his best before the mic or in the drawing room, but he was the greatest single magnet sports has ever known. 6 months a year, from 1919 until his final game in 1935, Babe packed the stands from New York to Tokyo. I've ridden in cars with him all over the map. Everywhere the mobs would wave or call his name, and the Babe would answer, "How are you, Mom? Hello, Pop." And then he'd turn to me and ask, "Grant, how can they miss this silly mug?" Children loved him, perhaps because his love for kids was completely sincere. I dined with him on the eve of the World Series in Chicago in '32. He always ate in his room before games to avoid mob scenes. "I've got to go for a short trip, Gramp," he said. "Where are you going on the night before a World Series game?" "I'll tell you, but if you print it, I'll shoot you. I'm taking this baseball to a sick kid on the other side of town. I promised his mother and father I'd come." Well, their flat was 20 or 30 miles away. The Babe spent 2 hours on the road that night, and there was no publicity. Babe, you see, was a sucker for parents who loved kids, because as a kid, Babe never knew what real parents were. For the 30 years I knew him, I never saw him really sore at anybody. Deeply hurt, yes, particularly when he finally realized the Yankees had no managerial berth for him. But in his remarks and actions, the Babe was kind. That's why I hope that the Babe's home run record of 60 will never be eclipsed. Many of his countless other records have since tumbled, but that mark of 60... Well, Babe, wherever you are, kicking your heels around on some king-size cloud, I hope it remains yours for eternity. Well, that's about it for today. In our next chapter, I'll tell you about Grantland Rice's first long look at Man o' War, King of Racehorses, and an interview with the King of Jockeys who rode Big Red and never forgot the thrill, Earl Sandy. Until then, this is Jimmy Powers, transcribed, saying so long for now.
From July 15th, 1955, the Grantland Rice Story on Classic Radio Theater.
America's Protestants, Catholics, and Jews are strengthening the bonds of brotherhood and friendship by helping the needy overseas. Through their houses of worship, these three faiths are sending voluntary relief to virtually every free country in the world. Hundreds of millions of pounds of goods, clothing, and medicine will go to victims of war, disaster, and famine in many parts of the world. More than 80% of American voluntary relief work for the hungry and needy overseas is conducted through the religious agencies of these three major faith groups. When you share with needy persons overseas through your house of worship, you are promoting the spirit of democracy that unites all peoples for peace and goodwill. You are keeping faith with the finest tradition and heritage of America. CBS Radio urges you to keep faith with those in need overseas by giving as much as you can through your faith.
We thank you for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater. Please visit the webpage, classicradio.stream. That's classicradio.stream. There you can find our podcasts on demand. You can learn more about classic radio collecting and contact me there, classicradio.stream. And remember, our podcasts are available anywhere fine podcasts are served. The Apple Podcast app, the Google Podcast app, Spotify, Spreaker, even the iHeartRadio app. Just search for USA Classic Radio Theater. Have yourself a great day, won't you please? I'm Wyatt Cox. Do us a favor. Thank this radio station. They'd love to hear from you. Support the advertisers. They need to hear from you. And tell a friend, because they ought to hear from you, about the great radio shows being back right here. Classic Radio Theater on your favorite station and the USA Radio Network.